This is Jim Nailon, liturgical guitarist, and I'm going to share my arrangement of the Advent hymn, The Angel Gabriel. I'll play through it first and then we'll go back and talk about it. Note that though I'm capoed on the first fret, you don't need to be because I tune this guitar down a half step. So if you're tuned regular, you don't need a capo. Here we go. Start it again, and then the last time through, starting with the last measure of page 1, you would take the second ending and it would sound like this. So there's no bar chords in this. It's pretty straightforward. It does move around a bit. Let's talk through it from the start. What was it? Anyway, it's come. I know what I was going to say. The reason I'm making this now is because I started practicing for Advent here yesterday on Thanksgiving, and I should have started a little earlier, but I realized that in another week from now, the week that we have the Annunciation of the Immaculate Conception, and also Our Lady of Guadalupe. Those are both the same week, and I do school masses for both of those. And the gospel reading is about the Annunciation, and so this song will come in handy in a couple weeks here. Plus, it's also a good song to play as a prelude all through Advent, and you can even use it during Christmas. And there are also times during the regular year, during the Marian seasons in May and such in October, that it's appropriate as a prelude. So let's start through it here. Starting the E minor, then the B7, then you slide on the little finger up to the E minor, to the A here, and then drop back into the E minor with your little finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. So that first measure, E minor, little finger down on the 3rd fret, B7, open B, and you can kind of glissando a little bit get a little slide there as you're going up that A, and then drop back into the E minor, and then to the C chord, D7, B7, and then second line, E minor. Now we're gonna glissando, sliding both our 3rd and 4th strings, our fingers up from the 2nd fret to the 5th fret on this B7. So you slide, and then you pluck it when you get up to the top. Then back to the E minor, now to the C, and a B minor here, but you don't have to bar this, and you shouldn't bar it. It's easier to just bring your first finger over on the 2nd fret of the 5th string, and just play the notes you need. The F sharp there, you're going to play with the 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, and the D, you're going to play with your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. And then that sets you up for that E minor ninth that follows, and all you have to do is lift your second finger up, and you've got everything you need for the E minor ninth. And lift that off and catch. Now we're going to do the melody in sixths here, the interval of sixths. So with our first and second finger, and then and we're going to drone the low E bass. No. Then brings you up to the G up here. It looks like a D chord on the 7th fret. And then into this D chord on the 5th fret. Just a 3-finger D with the open bass. We're actually droning the bass. And an E minor, which is like a D minor, slid up 2 frets. And then with the D bass. And then jump quick with your first finger to get that D sharp. And the B7. You don't have to lay the whole B7 down, but you have to lay down your first finger and your 4th finger quickly. Now going into the little finger scoots up 1 fret to this A minor on the last line there, the first page. And you're playing this A minor. It's like part of this A minor that you'd bar on the 5th fret. But you only need these 3 strings, and you're going to play them with your last 3 fingers. And then your first finger catches the G, and then you drop down into a D chord, and B7, and then E minor, C. And that C, now I have it fingered this way, where you're going to bring your second finger back to that first fret, or first string on the 2nd fret. But with my arthritis, I can't really do that very well, so I lift my first finger off, and if I bend my wrist up, and tuck my elbow in and bring my wrist up, it's easy to get that first finger in there. It's cleaner and better if you can do it with your second finger. You can still keep the C down. You can let that ring. But if you can't do that, it's not the end of the world. Then the A minor, then that same B minor without a bar, and then to the first ending, which is an E minor, hammer on, and then a D, hammer on that first string, open 2nd fret, and then a C, hammer on the 9th there, and then B, excuse me, and if you're taking the ending, the second ending there, you would come off of that last measure on page 1. And then just lift your second finger up and keep the first and 3rd finger down for the E minor 9th. Put a little retard in there, so and start slowing down, and a nice slow brush on that last chord. The chords that I use differ slightly from the E minor, the chords in E minor in the OCP, Oregon Catholic Press edition, which is what I, usually work off of. But I think I don't have it in front of me, but I know I made some substitutions. I threw in a few different chords here and there, just to make it easier on guitar, more playable. So just a heads up, if you're playing this at church and somebody else is playing out of the OCP keyboard edition, you might have a different chord here and there. And if you want to hear a beautiful vocal version of this, check out Ailid Jones. That's A-L-E-D and Jones on YouTube. Pick the one that he looks the youngest, him singing the angel Gabriel. He's got the most beautiful, almost a trumpet sounding kind of voice. He does an amazing job on this song. Anyway, that's all I have on this. Oh, and if you capo it up a couple frets, like maybe to the second fret, it's in a decent key to sing it. Or third, if you're a tenor, go up to the fourth fret, whatever. The angel Gabriel from heaven came. It's a nice key for a baritone to sing it. Anyway, that's all I have on this. I pray God blesses your playing. I hope I gave you enough time to practice this before Advent. If not, get it for next year. Look for more arrangements on liturgical guitarists, and I wish you peace and a blessed Advent.